Hello, YouTube. I have to state, through and through, um, that in the last video that I was trying to make with the face, it's clear as day, some of my fans, knew the next thing I was going to say, okay? So, what that truly means is that that's why you got misconception of My Hero Academia was, not up to par or not this and that. What you had was you had misconception. What I said was, it further, anime in terms of being social because more sure it's a hot topic. I said now 100 videos already. More anime series on Netflix. Netflix being a common streaming website, and what ends up happening, right, is that you didn't understand that it was just because of the sleazeball. Because what happened, after My Hero, I started realizing that some of the endings that come from that anime specifically say that you think you gotta whoop your mom's ass, but it tells you to go back to school. All right. So in doing so, the reason why we had misconception because when you compare it to Naruto, right? Because in Naruto, all was the fights, and everybody was agreeing, right? So what ends up happening is this shit gets so fucked up that they end up saying that, oh, your life in Naruto is better because of the truth of My Hero. Some fans are fully retarded, all right? And the other half is that it helped, Americanize anime further, all right? But the biggest misconception is the exact same reason why there was that cosplay shit where you don't understand it was just because of a breakup, all right? But that's not the topic of this video, not at all. It is a long intro, but nonetheless, here we fucking go, okay? So this is about cause and effect to autistic awareness programs. If you like the War Best One Piece so much, this is about Marco, specifically the Phoenix, all right? So this is about the Casa Phoenix, the old place I went to, and it has a long origin of mental health, that has something to do with a gang or understanding of a gang. You see, the truth behind, most people who work for mental health is that they actually joined a blood gang, okay? So where we get gullible, autistic, can't stand for this and that. I don't fucking fall for that. That's why you say, a few things in front of Sunny. But what it truly is, when gangsters literally target autism or look out for autism, what happens 9 times out of 10 is, autism isn't quick on their feet. Well, what if I told you, Lily, your therapist tells you something, bro, think about this and that, and then goes off and tell a gang, in order for her to live, in order for her to think, in order for her to, to do superficial things, all right? In order for her, to have a side life outside you. So what happens if you become a blood all of a sudden, and you try to trap you into health? Now you know this is down with the government, and now you're not gonna be a square. You gotta say something definite, all right? So last night I was looking up songs for, Ice-T and Genuine. Literally, I learned a little bit about the system, okay? Because, what I heard was people having a perfect flow, perfect balance, but then blow stuff up where it came to, good music, like Dance Gavin Dance. And that's the exact same reason why I allowed my animation. Literally, we had all this creative up and down, literally a hole in the fucking chorus, but boom, there it goes, Simpsonamic, okay? Literally, that's the exact reason why you need to, validate the anime, okay? Because this is very important, but you don't know what that means for me specifically. For all the people who are 8th grade fans of my channel, right? This is a shout out to you specifically because guess what ends up happening? Because the teacher's word is the teacher's word like how you think it is in your head, okay? Because last night, literally, I got reminded of the dad constantly, so it started with this morning. This morning, I was wondering if I should wake up at 5:30 or 6 o'clock to pick up CeeLo. And then I had, an argument, with dad in my head, saying, oh, I picked him up, 5:30 throughout, all last year. Literally, there was no award, okay? Literally, so you hear that one, oh, do you really think this should be an award? And, this thing is stupid. No, but it's true, literally. And so literally, so the argument literally stands for how longer than 6 o'clock. Oh, now we're ready now. So what happens literally is I take the dog out, literally, and so you know how they get bacon literally with the auntie and shit, literally, you don't do the whole Chris Brown. Guess what ends up happening, all right? What ends up happening was they say, yo, take your top of your music. You know how I'm just saying, well, literally using musical strings, right? As soon as I come back, I play a Naruto fucking opening. Literally, they thought it was gonna be the whole Chris Brown. I was like, no, now you're fucking to your own shit. And it was funny. And what ends up happening, externally, was I recognized that what they stood for, what Dad was doing was completely different, okay? So Dad was covering, everything in one line, saying, I'm not going to, fall for your trap because it's going to be at my expense, all right? What that's connected to in 8th grade, right? When a teacher tells you something, guess what ends up happening when you grow up, all right? So this is when the Casa Phoenix comes into play, the whole point of the Casa Phoenix, all right? So let me backtrack a little bit. When you listen to music like Ice-T, that's what Say did. He would download music, Genuine, further rap like Ice-T, all that shit, and guess what ends up happening? When you go in and out of music instead of respecting music for what it is, literally, you get retarded labels like Jonte. That's why Sonny got a paper, he's like, what the fuck? And it's true. It's completely fucking true. Literally, and that's why, literally, you're too hard on kids, because what ends up happening is, Mr. Zelosoft, or, Mr. Baconberg, or fucking whatever, a high-tier special ed teacher. Guess what you do to them? Well, you're like me, literally, when you're mid-tier, literally, and you go out and you listen to the real world, and you don't do the whole Chris Brown, but you keep your eyes open. That means you stay home and look at porn videos and anime videos like me, you don't go to jail. Guess what ends up happening? Those specks and stars become real, and they become threats to special ed teachers, because what teachers do, literally, is that they keep their mind at bay, saying that, because how they beat their uncle, literally, is they have little purple, little, stupid shit to keep them by. And so, when you do things that comes into play, you recognize that you're way better than they were when they were your age, okay? So what ends up happening, eternally, when they tell you something, all right, literally, is when you're out in the real world, when you're not in jail yet, when you don't get in trouble, they are afraid because your specs and stars are going to grow and evolve, and you're about to get Maria, okay? Not 1, 2, sex is going to click. That's the whole reason of the Casa Phoenix. No matter how much you hear somebody supporting you, they're stopping you from your visionary, being complete and 1, 2 clicking, okay? Because literally, you know why? Because that proves that they're wrong. Not only is the purple lily that's holding them up lily is wrong, but literally, they're stopping you away from your quality, all right? Everybody has went through the same fucking thing. Literally, Mr. Kubiak, literally, on the field trip, he fucked up just like me, right? I don't know what happened, but, that's true, It pisses special ed teachers off, because you do 2 things. So what happens if you get in between and retaliate? I don't know, but, that's the way truth behind this video. Anyway, what I did earlier was I worked on my thighs, okay? So what I did was I did, 60, 70 dips, all right? Around 60 dips, and I did, my normal walk to New Park Mall. And so what does that do? I'm like, does this really translate this and that in order for you to do a backflip? And then I was going to do it in front of my mom and say, hey, remember this, but it's not the time. And so that's why it's stupid, okay? That's why it's completely fucking stupid, literally. I really wanted to go back to the days, literally, when, she was like, watch it with Lamaya, I wish, literally, I think about it, thousands of times, literally, I'm the guy, literally, that's a mirage, literally, I didn't win where I was dancing with the girls with Yessie, I can't stand it. I can't stand it at all, and I saw, a video that said I should win, literally, in the back room, I did it, all right, so, and all eternally, all right, I hope you had a good morning, and this is your video.